I will introduce Lester Holt.
He's known as the hardest working man in news. Before Lester Holt begins his 3-day stretch of hosting Dateline, Weekend Today, and the weekend editions of Nightly News, he stops in Dallas to talk with Nexstar executives and news directors.
I fondly remember the days when the words fair and balanced was part of our job description, not a marketing slogan.
Lester sat down with us to talk about those early days. His 35 years in local and network news didn't begin in front of a camera.
My first, paying job in the business was as a disc jockey, country and western, but it was a DJ job, and news was really a product of I needed a full-time job, and they offered me a chance to work full-time as a reporter, and then I got the bug. Good evening, I'm Lester Holt.
His passion sustained him through 14 years in local news, most of it in Chicago during a time of serious racial tension.
I do news, that's all I claim to do. So it was a lot of pressure in the community at the time, and I just kind of put my head down and thought, I'm just going to let my work speak for itself, and ultimately I think it did.
Ultimately, his talent and work ethic shot him to the national stage. His mother often points out to him that this was his destiny.
She always reminds me of this. She goes, when you were a little boy, I think 6 or 7 years old, I turned to her and I said, how come there's no colored people on TV? We were colored back then.
Right.
And she always remembered that. And now here I am, on TV.
He's not the only member of the Holt family on television. Lester and his wife of more than 30 years have 2 grown sons, one of whom has joined the family business, anchoring in Chicago.
And then he used to come hang with me on Saturday and Sunday mornings at the Today Show when he was in high school. I always thought, you're a teenager, sleep in, it's Saturday. But he would come down and hang around with the crew, so, he picked it up honestly.
Lester is careful not to overwhelm his son with too much career advice or instruction.
I also don't give him a lot of advice because he's actually better than I am. certainly at this age, this stage of his career, he's far better than I was.
Although he's covered stories around the world and accomplished more than most people do in a lifetime.
That's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday.
Lester remains humble and grateful.
They pay me a really nice salary to do what I do, and so I've got to be there for them. And I just, want people to know that, hopefully, know me as a hardworking guy who likes to tell stories.